anything, any place, anytime. That's the promise that we made when we graduated from Special Forces, John F. Kennedy Special Forces School in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. We can be called into a mission. We will never know, previous to the mission call, where we're going, how long we're going to be there, and what we're going to be doing. Being in Special Forces or the SEALs is not just like a job, it's a way of life. In the long period you spend training, you're indoctrinated to the point where for the rest of your life, that's the way you're going to live your life. And for me, since I got out of the military in 1999, I've been a crusader to be able to liberate those who are oppressed. Recently, I got very close to the situation with what's happening with women in the world. And I talked to you last week. And quite a few ladies in the room came to talk to me after to express their frustration and their pain of what's going on with the position of them at work and how they get paid and how they get treated. I was in the last session last night of the Park City Leadership Program, and I was talking to a good friend of mine, Holly, and she was explaining to me, she's a very young lady, very intelligent, very outgoing, very well educated, and she was telling me that she still lives having 3 part-time jobs here in Park City. And she'd been interviewing for some jobs in Salt Lake City. And she said that she had a couple of interviews that were completely offensive, and she was treated with no respect and no dignity. So today I'm going to present to you some facts. This is not only for ladies, this is for men. And the title of my speech is, what would you do if you were not afraid? This is for you ladies. The time is over. You must stop being afraid. You must stand for what you believe. You must stand for your values. You must stand for who you are. And also goes for men. We need to alter that DNA process we have in our brain because we've been trained since a small age to look at women as second-class citizens. So today in the US and developed countries in the world, women have it pretty good. Really. They can get jobs, they can drive, they can vote. In some places you can walk alone at night and you will be okay. But look at other countries. Those people have no faces, but they have spirits, and they have souls, and they're intelligent. Look at some of the facts. 4.4 million women and girls are trapped in the sex trade. 4.4 million women. You know how many women are that? That's a lot of women. Afghanistan and Sudan girls receive little or no education trade. Wives are treated as property of their husbands. And if you're a rape victim, you could be jailed for moral crimes. It was your fault. The blunt truth is that men still control the world. And that's what I'm speaking to you, men. Are you going to take a stand to alter the way you think? You really need to sit down. You really need to sit down and think, what is my stand in regard to women? If I'm going to get a new person who's going to work next to me at work every day, how you view that person? Of the 195 independent countries in the world, only 17 are led by women. Women hold just 20% of seats in parliament globally. In US, a meager 21% of the Fortune 500 CEOs are women. And women hold 14% of executive office position, 17% of board seat, and 18% of elected congressional officials. Can you see it's a great disparity between men and women? Do they have those numbers because they're not good enough? They're not educated enough? They're not capable enough? No. It's only because the world is controlled by men and we have this mentality that we want to keep it that way because it's convenient for us. I know an example of a woman, very intelligent, very well educated, and was hired by a very high executive from an oil company. And the first day when she showed up to work, he said, "Honey, I'm very lucky because I can pay you less for what you want to give me." And you know, her feeling was, wow, that's an acknowledgement of how intelligent I am. But you see how you're leaving money under the table? You're leaving money under the table. Holly told me in these interviews that she had, she was not willing to sell for less. So she thought, I go back to my 3 part-time job before I work for this company with this attitude. In 1907, American women were paid 59 cents for every dollar they made by the counterparts, males. By 2010, women have protested and tried to raise the compensation to 77 cents. What is the difference in the law?
About 65.
65 cents. And 40 years and 18 cents, a dozen eggs have gone up 10 times that amount. Just think about it. Miss Bowie won the 2011 Nobel Prize, and a woman asked her how Americans can help on these tragedies around the world, and her response was 4 simple words. It's an arrow here. More women in power. Like 7.5 minutes. So I'm going to open it for questions. So when the first person starts with a question, my time starts, yeah? So, what are your questions that you have?
What can the average person do to?
The first thing I think we need to do is to start, we need to really sit down, I say, and see, what is my stand? How do I think? Because for us, for men, it's been an automatic thing. And for women, it's an automatic thing, like that woman say, well, I'm acknowledged that you think I'm so intelligent. That's a place to start. The way of thinking, we need to alter the way of thinking to create a new paradigm. Questions? Yes?
How did you get involved with this project?
I discovered that women being oppressed around the world. And my job as a former special forces is to liberate them. And the most powerful thing I can do as a leader is to be a compelling speaker about the issue. And I continue to speak on a daily basis. Like I said last week, our arm wrestle with executives where we're trying to hire people, and then they have attitudes about how we want to treat this woman compared with this other man. Yes?
How do you propose changing this paradigm in the Muslim religion?
It would be a very, very, very difficult thing to do. But maybe, like I said, we need to start here and move a woman in power. Because we are a profound influence in the world. We are the leaders in the world in many issues. If the world is looking at us, things are changing. Things are changing. It might take us 100 years to do it, or maybe 150 years. But if we don't begin today, we will never get there. Yes?
This is not so much a question, but I know as a mother of 2 girls, it's always been a struggle for me to think how I told my girls from the beginning, you can do anything, you can go whatever college you want to go to, you can follow whatever career, And then when the time comes that they decide to get married and have a baby, then it's like, okay, so is it, our society oftentimes frowns on women going to work and leaving their baby at home. It was difficult for me because I had a good career and decided, there were other reasons, but also decided to stay home to be a mom. But it's a paradigm shift that I think women and men need to make. But that
So
it's
just
difficult.
to comment on what you're saying, I think as women, especially young women, our daughters, our granddaughters, we need to indoctrinate them, and we need to engage in conversations with them. That it's a privilege to be able to bear children, and it should not be an embarrassment to you. And then we need to fight for how we're going to give the opportunity to women and protect them and give them the opportunities. Yes.
This is also not a question, but I also think it's a cultural difference. For example, where I come from, the mothers and fathers usually share the parent leave, which is usually at least a year long. And the father has to take 2 months, otherwise, because it's paid by the state, otherwise it's lost.
Yes, ask her, because she knows a lot about something that we don't have in America. My time is up.